Hey there, and welcome back to Let's Get Cooking. Come on in the kitchen, come right on in. Today I have a sweet treat for you. I'm going to show you how to make chocolate chip cookie bars. They are yummy and delicious. Not your standard cookie, but this is a bar. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit just heartier and tastier. So let's get ready to make these chocolate chip cookie bars. Very simple to make. Okay, you see here I have two bowls, one for the wet, one for the dry. First, I'm starting off by just blending my dry ingredients and getting those in the bowl. I'm using flour, cornstarch, baking soda, and salt. I have 2¼ cups of flour, that's 2 1/4, a tablespoon of cornstarch, a pinch of salt, and a teaspoon of baking soda. So that makes up the dry ingredients. Once they're all in the bowl, I'm going to mix them well until everything is incorporated and mixed together. And then I'll be setting those aside. So just like a cookie, you have your dry, you have your wet. Sometimes you can mix that in the same bowl, but we're using two bowls for this recipe, but it's still very simple and very easy. So once my dry ingredients are mixed, I'm going to set it to the side and pull over the next bowl and get started with the wet ingredients. Okay, in my glass bowl, I'm getting my sugars ready to mix in this bowl, and I'm using a cup of light brown sugar, 2/3 of a cup of regular sugar. So I'm adding the sugars to the bowl, and I'm just going to mix those well until they're combined. The sugar, the combination of the sugars help to make the bars nice and chewy. So just giving those a quick mix. What I do love about this recipe is I didn't have to get out the big electric mixer. This was all able to be done easily with a whisk, and I didn't have to get out the large mixer. So hey, that saves in cleaning. To the sugars, I'm adding my butter, and this is melted butter. I'm using 1½ sticks, which is also 12 tablespoons, which is also 3/4 of a cup of melted butter. I'm adding in some vanilla. We love the vanilla. We're going to use 1 tablespoon. It could be a little bit more of that vanilla. Once these are in the bowl, I'm going to just mix this in with the sugar. And then we have just a couple more ingredients, and this is almost done. So right now I have my sugars, the butter, and the vanilla, and just giving that a good mix until it almost looks like a nice caramel sauce. Have you guys made cookie bars before? Let me know. Drop it in the comments. They're very versatile. You can add really whatever you want. Right now I'm going to add in my eggs, and those are at room temperature. So I have 2 large eggs, and we're landing the plane on the wet batter, adding in the eggs, mixing those well. So like I said, have you made cookie bars before? And they're versatile, so you can put whatever you want. You can add chocolate chips, you can add butterscotch, white chocolate, nuts. I mean, just the list goes on and on. Coconut, oatmeal. I mean, these bars can just be taken to a whole nother level. But I'm making the basic chocolate chip cookie bars today. So you see me mixing those eggs in well, very well. So at this point, I want to make sure this wet batter is mixed completely. And then we're going to add the dry ingredients to the wet batter. So while you're watching, let me go ahead and explain what I'm doing. I'm adding the dry ingredients to the wet, and then I'm just going to mix those until everything is mixed well. I've said that it seems like a million times in this video, but we're just combining. And then the last step will be to add in the chocolate chips, and that's 2 cups. I like semi-sweet or bittersweet, I prefer, but you can definitely add in milk chocolate chips also. Whatever chips you prefer, you can combine bitter, semi, white chocolate, milk chocolate, whatever types of chips you like, you prefer, you put in your batter. Right there, I'm using the semi-sweet chocolate chips. What I did learn, I want to add in a couple things I did learn. This is a very thick batter, and the recipe called for using an 8x8 square pan. I would adjust. I do have a couple of adjustments, and I'll let you know right after this part. I'm mixing in the chocolate chips you see right here. You do want to reserve, I would say probably about 2 to 3 tablespoons of chocolate chips to go on the top once you put the batter in your baking dish. And then you want to add those extra chocolate chips to the top and just pat those down just for presentation and just so it'll look pretty while it's baking. So I'm just giving this a mix. You see how it got completely thick. This is just almost like Play-Doh at this point, but that's good. That's what we want. And so now I have this nice thick batter and I'm getting ready to put it in my baking dish. I used the 8x8 square pan because that's what the recipe called for. I would adjust that. For this batter, I would use a 9x13 dish because it was just a little bit too high and too thick. You'll notice that I made it twice. I made it like this, and then I made it a second time, um, just a little in a different pan. Or I cut the recipe in half and then put it in the pan so that it was not as thick. And then I added the M&Ms, which made it definitely fun, adding M&Ms to the top. So this is trial one. Let's just say take one and take two. I made it twice, but these were delicious. They were just thicker than I prefer. So right now I'm just putting that batter into the pan. Like I said, remember I would recommend a 9x13 for this batter. A 9x13 so that your bars are just a little bit thicker. But right now I'm just patting this in. You see I lined my baking dish with parchment paper so that it will come out easier. And then those are the reserved chocolate chips that I'm adding to the top. I'm going to pat those in real quick. Pat them in, push them down into the batter just a little bit before I put it in the oven. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees. And then you want to bake it for about 30 to 35 minutes, keeping an eye on it. All right, it's ready to go in the oven. And of course, just like that, it's ready. So that's beautiful. This is wonderful. This is the chocolate chip cookie bar first take. It's very good, very delicious. Just on the thicker side. It's almost like just having a little slice of cake. So if you like it like this with some ice cream, perfect. But here goes take two. Take two was my favorite. I added the M&Ms to the top and a little bit of chocolate chips. Look how pretty that is. That looks so fun. Children would love this and it tastes good. So I'm just going to give this a cut into about 12 pieces. And this is, right here is the, once I cut it, we have the bars. You can store them in a container. You can eat them right off the bat. I say let them cool for about 20 minutes, but they are ready to be enjoyed fresh out the oven. They are so good, so chewy, so chocolatey, so moist. They are yummy, y'all. You can put some milk with it, you can put some ice cream with them. It's almost like a pizookie in a restaurant where you have the cookie, like the cookie pie, and then you put the ice cream on top, drizzle some chocolate sauce, some caramel. Oh, the things you can do with these bars, or you can simply just take one and just enjoy it by yourself. Right here, thanks for coming to the kitchen. Thanks for baking with me. I showed you how to make chocolate chip cookie bars. These are delicious. I will be making again, and again. I hope you do too. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. And thanks for coming to the kitchen. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.